The AEW main event and world title scene is just in turmoil right now. The most diehard AEW fans are turning on AEW's booking, and this current Death Riders angle and Jon Moxley world title run just aren't working and are being completely rejected by the fans, as the AEW world title picture is maybe in the worst place it's ever been in. So we're going to talk about all that and more in today's video as we talk about AEW's biggest problem right now and how it's killing the identity of the company. Let's go. At AEW All Out 2024, after Bryan Danielson successfully defended his AEW World title against Jack Perry, his Blackpool Combat Club mates as well as Pac and Marina Shafir would turn on Bryan Danielson and attack him, as Jon Moxley choked out Bryan Danielson with a plastic bag, cementing the heel turn for a new offshoot group called the Death Riders. Following this, they'd continue to attack Danielson and essentially stated their goal was to take over AEW in the 10 millionth company takeover storyline in AEW history, something like that. And he even remarks that what's going on is bigger than AEW, and there was even speculation that there was a higher power controlling them, with Shane McMahon being speculated to be that name. But lo and behold, it literally never meant anything, and that never amounted. And Danielson's next title defense was set to be against Darby Allin at Grand Slam, who, as far as I'm aware, was the original plan for who was going to go over Bryan Danielson and take the belt off of him. But plans were changed as Jon Moxley beat Darby Allin to take his world title shot away from him, making Moxley vs Danielson for the world title official for Wrestle Dream. And of course, in that Wrestle Dream match, Jon Moxley would come out on top and go over Bryan Danielson to win the AEW world title. So like I said, from what I know, the original plan was for Darby Allin to win the title next, but plans pivoted when Jon Moxley pitched the Death Rider story and Danielson was happy to drop the belt to Mox. At the time it happened, I was kind of disappointed as I thought Darby Allin was the correct person to take the belt off of Danielson, but I thought, hey, Moxley's been reliable as the world champion before and I like Moxley, so let's just see where this goes. And following this, the Death Riders declared war on the AEW roster and were constantly brawling and fighting with the roster members week to week. And the storyline started out promising, I guess. Moxley's first title defense against Orange Cassidy I thought was a decent solid match. And as for the storyline itself, it was nothing new, but it was something that could easily evolve, and there were many different directions and stories to tell, but instead what we proceed to get is the exact same Moxley promo and Death Rider segments every single week. Underwhelming and overhyped segments, such as when they were meant to seize TBS and we just kinda didn't really get that. And we're at a point now where sometimes the belt isn't even present on TV, and safe to say, nobody is enjoying this. This Death Rider storyline has gone off a cliff. Nobody's really been elevated from it, and the last title defense with that 4-way match at World's End was just a train wreck. It's got to the point now where even AEW's biggest diehard supporters are demanding for AEW to pivot. It all came to a head this past week on social media when AEW announced this monstrosity of a match for the upcoming Maximum Carnage Collision episode. A 12-man tag match featuring Moxley, Claudio, and Yuta of the Death Riders teaming with the Learning Tree to take on Rated FTR, the Outrunners, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Oh boy, where do we even begin? There are so many things wrong with this match. First of all, just to recap if you weren't aware, Cope, formerly Adam Copeland or Edge, is the one who is now feuding with Jon Moxley for the title. He's aligned with FTR, so that's where all the front row kind of come into this match. As for the others, Powerhouse Hobbs is facing Jon Moxley tonight as I film this for the world title, so that's why he's in this match. The Outrunners though, I guess AEW's thinking was, hey, they're a babyface tag team, not doing anything this week, let's just chuck them in there. And the Learning Tree being in there, oh my god, just makes no sense at all storyline wise, and just goes against the Death Riders' entire manifesto and what they're supposed to stand for. It makes no sense that the Death Riders would ever team up with the Learning Tree. Unless Mox beats them up and refuses to team with them before the match, this all makes no sense, and this entire match is just such bad booking by AEW, and the fans have sure let them know, so the ball is in AEW's court whether or not they follow through with it and book this match. But my god, I really hope hope they don't. As I said though, the current challenger for the world title is Cope, who is likely to be challenging Moxley for the belt soon, maybe at the pay-per-view, I'm not too sure, which is another problem because, don't get it twisted, I like Cope. However, it makes no sense that it's an ex-WWE wrestler who's only been in the company for 2 years who is rallying up the AEW roster to fight against the Death Riders. And the most annoying thing as well with Cope is that he had an awesome TNT title reign before he got injured and had to vacate it, which every AEW fan enjoyed, so they easily could have just had him return and go back for the belt he never lost as a much more believable and realistic storyline whilst going in a different direction with the Death Riders, but alas, no, they've gone this direction. It's believed that Darby Allin will still be the one to win the belt next and will be the one to defeat Moxley for the world title, but he's actually going to be away from AEW for a few months as he prepares to climb Mount Everest, which means we may be stuck with this Mox world title reign until at least the summer, which has many AEW fans just crying out for the company to pivot now. The main suggestion I've seen for a pivot is to just hand the belt to Kenny Omega, who recently returned to AEW. He had a great return performance at Wrestle Dynasty, and I think he kind of reminded people what the AEW world title scene used to be like. And I'd obviously be very open to them doing this, and I think that could be a very good idea. However, it seems as though AEW's chosen direction for Kenny Omega is to be challenging Okada for the Continental title. Another suggestion I've seen is to just have Powerhouse Hobbs win the AEW world title tonight. He's an AEW homegrown guy, so it makes sense with the storyline, and there may be no better opportunity or situation than right now to do it. It would be a very big risk, and of course all these scenarios' success are dependent on AEW booking, but in this situation, I think anything is better than the current angle, so yeah, fuck it, have Hobbs win the belt, why not? Do I think AEW will do this though? Do I really think they'll book Hobbs to win the belt tonight? I don't think so. I guess by the time a lot of you are seeing this, you'll have found out. Hopefully they did it and followed through, but I'm not expecting anything. I mean, the fact he's booked on that 12-man tag for Collision I think is a bit of a dead giveaway. I always agreed that Darby was the right guy to beat Mox. In fact, I agreed that Darby was the right guy to beat Danielson, and now I really wish AEW stuck with that plan. It would have elevated an AEW homegrown star instantly, instead of subjecting AEW fans to whatever we've got for the last few months and TV main events littered with 50-year-old ex-WWE guys, and that's kind of what I mean when I say that AEW is losing its identity if they haven't already. AEW was meant to be the alternative, but just weeks into this new Max deal, and we've got Chris Jericho versus Dax Harwood main eventing TV. I mean, come on, and I'm saying that as someone who likes FTR. A match like that and the 12-man tag being main events for AEW TV just goes completely against what AEW was meant to be. And now with Darby Allin out for a few months, AEW are in desperate need to pivot this storyline or give something in the meantime. AEW notoriously have never been good at plan B booking though, so to speak. Anytime AEW have been forced into a corner where they've been forced to make a quick decision and pivot away, it's never really ended up well, other than maybe Samoa Joe winning the world title. That is the only instance I can think of. But as it stands with the way things currently are and how the booking is going, I don't know if the fans are going to hold out for that long for Darby Allin, and they just need to pivot. Like I said, if I was the booker, I'd either have Powerhouse Hobbs pick up the surprise win tonight, or have Kenny Omega beat Moxley for the belt, and you can still have Omega versus Okada in the summer in a big unification match maybe, and you can retire that Continental belt. I've always said that AEW has too many men's singles belts, and either the International or Continental belt can get in the bin, so that's the perfect scenario for me. If AEW will do this though, once again, to me is unlikely, but remains to be seen, and I guess all we can do is wait and see, but I'm just not sure AEW can afford to continue to do this if they don't want to lose their core audience. As for my opinion on Jon Moxley, this entire world title reign and run just kinda hurts me, I can't lie. Moxley has always been one of my favorite guys in wrestling, even going back to when he was Dean Ambrose. He was always my favorite member of the Shield, but this world title title reign has just not been it, and I feel as though Moxley is just nowhere near the wrestler he used to be in AEW, say just 2 years ago in 2022. Or 3 years ago, sorry, I forgot we're in 2025 now. He just isn't the same, and I don't know if it's because he switched up his style, or I don't know what happened. I feel as though Jon Moxley needs to find that 2021 Jon Moxley once again. But that's going to be it for me and my thoughts on this entire AEW World Title scene ordeal, and the way that AEW fans have completely turned on the product and completely turned on AEW's booking. But I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of the current state of the AEW main event scene, and what do they have to do to fix it and change it? Like the video if you did enjoy it and want to see more videos like this one, and subscribe with those notifications on so you're the first to see and never miss any videos like this one here. I've been Tom from Top 10 Wrestling. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye and keep on rolling.